What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Faraday Future. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been really moving in lately, and just my general thoughts on what's been coming out from Faraday. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, Faraday did go down 9.6% on Friday, extending it a little bit further, down 1.26% after hours. Over the last 5 days though, still doing fairly good, up 13.48%. I see a lot of people on social media wondering what caused this right here. A lot of people are assuming it's Faraday big money buying. That was more as linked to shorts. So at that time, there was a lot of good market momentum, and there was a lot of stocks that are heavily shorted, all kind of squeezing at the same time. So that is where Faraday did participate in. So it wasn't really specific to Faraday. It kind of happened to many stocks. So again, just wanted to kind of clear that. But aside from that though, this is for the most part, my weekly video. So I do one Faraday video a week, go over all of the highlights, good, bad, and the ugly, everything. So starting off, there's been two pieces of news recently. Both came out February the 12th. And so I kind of wanted to talk about that because both are interesting in their own ways, and both are positive and negative. So in case you are new to the channel, I've been covering Faraday for roughly around 2 years. I've been 100% on point with the trajectory of Faraday, good, up, down, like loop-de-loop all over the place. And I've been able to accurately predict when they've been doing reverse stock splits and going to be doing reverse stock splits. So I kind of know what I'm talking about, and I'm good at kind of reading between the lines. And I think a lot of investors kind of are too emotionally invested in stocks to actually read between it. So this is why I do these videos. So starting off, this one right here. So Faraday Future hosts event in New York City for investment bankers and fund managers, presenting latest business advancements with FF and FX brand. So it shows that the company recently hosted a event, so it already happened. And so when it comes down to this, there is good and bad things about this. So I've stated in the past, the recently closed 30 million note, the SPA, which has toxic convertible debt to it, that isn't going to be enough to get the FX brand off the ground. So they recently as well put out news saying that they're going to be going through the testing phase, but nonetheless, they need more than 30 million. They probably, in all fairness, they need 100 million more, but that's just my own estimate, of course. But this right here, this meeting was to get funders. So they do need more money. And so again, you guys somehow don't believe me every time I do these types of videos, say, no, I'm just BSing, I'm full of crap. But it's kind of funny how I'm 100% accurate all the time. So they do need more money, and this meeting right here is very 100% accurate based on that. They don't need investors, they don't need anything, they need loans. They need the conventional loans. So that's actually where I want to talk on how it's somewhat positive. Faraday in the past, they have kind of stated how in 2023 they wanted to move away from all that convertible toxic debt. They brought up saying that it's very bad for the stock price and its shareholders. So since then, unfortunately, they haven't really been able to entice any conventional loans, so typical loans or whatever else, to get to fund them. So this is why they still have to go back to those toxic lenders time and time again. But this does show that they actually do want to go out and get a conventional loan, very basic bones loan. So they don't want to damage the shareholders anymore. And I think based on the shareholder meeting as well, so the preliminary and also definitive 14As, they have to raise an authorized share count because of the amount of dilution that the previous notes are causing. So Faraday is kind of caring about his shareholders. So that's why I wanted to do these videos, read between the lines, because this is somewhat positive and negative, has both attributes. So again, I just wanted to kind of bring that up. Secondly, they did have this. So their very first used vehicle did sell at auction for 235, MSRP 309, as you can kind of see right there. It did hold roughly 76% residual value. So Gotta give credit when credit is due. That's actually very good. I have a lot of other channels I cover stocks on. One is a dedicated Lucid one. When Lucid first started out, they got, I think, like 60%. So 76% is actually very, very good. So once again, that's kind of the good thing. Bad thing is, when I saw this, I kind of chuckled a little bit, because yes, they've only produced maybe about 10 and one is being sold, so that's not a good thing. But even of those 10 or whatever number that they've actually produced, nobody's actually ever paid for one. And some people again will be like, no, you're lying. I've already done a full thing, and I've brought this up a couple other times. Go look at their earnings. It's very clear. They offset it through compensation, through R&D. It's just marketing. And so one individual that did receive a Faraday vehicle that was paid to market for them was Chris Brown. And it's kind of, when I saw this as well, I honestly thought it was rather sad. I felt bad for Faraday. It kind of shows that they're like grasping at straws. But Faraday Future proudly celebrates Chris Brown, blah, 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 and whatever else at some award show. But in general, like, it would be kind of comical if Chris Brown was one of those individuals that sold it, because all Chris Brown has done was like took a couple pictures in front of a Faraday vehicle, his Faraday vehicle, and that is it. I think he posted it. He has never actually publicly brought up or given a shout out to Faraday themselves. And even at this award show, didn't bring up Faraday, didn't do anything. So I think it's just very bad. But it goes to show that Faraday's previous history is just horrific, and this is why they are trying to change the ticker. I think that's all happening first or second week of March. And so hopefully this will be able to be a good rebranding for them, so they can kind of leave all that in the past and hopefully start fresh. So once again, this has good and bad attributes alongside this right here. Just to give you a quick overview, so shorts, as of right now, 41.8% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 18.28 million shares. So ultimately, this is, like I said, why Faraday did run up recently, is because of the amount of shorts that are in it. So it was kind of more of a market squeeze that did happen. So there's that. Aside from that, looking at options, you had 501,000 in calls, 148,000 in puts. 46% of all the options being done on Friday were bearish in nature. And this is just the open interest. So kind of take note of that going into this upcoming week, ending February the 21st. You have a little bit more activity looking at the options. So if Faraday does have a nice move higher, then this is where you could potentially start to see some interesting activity associated to that. But aside from that, these are all the transactions that have occurred on the dark pool above $100,000. So you're starting to see some transactions there. It shows the prices. So one was done at $177, $1.92, and then $2.08. Then these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market. So looks like one buy and two sells ultimately when it comes down to it, and one mid. So based on the bid and where it was actually sold, it's kind of hard to distinguish where it was. So yeah, I think all in all, pretty interesting stuff. So let me know your thoughts on Faraday. What's your viewpoint on these two pieces of news? Do you think that this is good? Do you think it signals something potentially else that might be coming, or what's your viewpoint on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.